Blue Weekend by Wolf Alice. It is 11 songs, 40 minutes long. It's one of those things where like I wanted to interchange the artist name and the album name a lot.
Yep.
Because it's like one of those, they're just like two things good, you know. Wolf Alice are an alternative rock band from London, England. I believe this is their second project, and would you look at that? Dirty Hit and Associates.
Wait, are they on there on Dirty Hit?
Yeah, it's distributed in America through RCA. But,
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Dirty Hit and Associates.
What do you know?
What do you know?
Familiar friends again. I believe this is their
friends of the show, Dirty Hit.
Yes. I believe this is their
third record, I believe.
Yeah. They've been active a little bit before that, but this is their third full album. And so it's really cool. I haven't heard that much of them before, but jumping into an artist's third album, you usually expect them to be like kind of mature and really set with their sound. And I got like a lot of that stuff here. One of my favorite songs in here, which I think was the lead single, is Smile, which is the fourth one. We'll get there in a moment.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But it begins with and ends kind of with these beach intros and these beach songs. They're kind of like ethereal, meant to kind of set a tone and a setting. Beach one, I'd say, well, yeah, Beach 1 acts as like an intro more and like has like a louder part in the end, whereas Beach 2 is a lot more of like an ethereal closer sort of thing, which makes a lot of sense. Once you get through Delicious Things, like the first song, it's a little bit slower.
Yes.
I guess alternative rock, but you almost confuse it for like Americana at times, which I think is kind of interesting. But it's like pretty solid in general, I'd say. It's just definitely like slower in that way.
Yeah, I would say with the Americana thing, I could get that where some people don't understand what that is, but that's the whole genres thing that a lot of people don't understand, and that's why we don't like to do that a lot of the time. So we try to compare it to artist sounds more than anything else.
Yeah, it sounds like this, but like then it's like all the baggage of this
you'll
term.
like, exactly.
So it's very much not. Lipstick on the Glass sounds like a much more like firmly alternative rock song to me.
This reminds me, Lipstick on the Glass reminds me of Doves. So like early Doves of like that really space rock almost of just the vocals are really in the background. You sound, as I like to say, it sounds like you recorded in a warehouse. It's not a bad thing. It's just like the way it sounds.
Yeah, the reverberation.
Really like that sound a lot. That's when I got into this album, was starting at Lipstick in the Glass. The Beach and Delicious Things are good. They're just a little bit slow. Actually, The Beach is a pretty good opening track because it starts to slowly build and build and build, almost like Weird Fishes. Delicious Things is a decent track, but Lipstick on the Glass, I'm like, okay, I like this. I can really dig into this album a lot.
Really good drums layering together into a nice like sonic conclusion that feels like orchestral and like it has meaning. And then Smile is just like your good old like alternative rock like jammer.
Just like go full gas at it, yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of Foles' newer work, I'd say, with that like muffled,
the part two, like especially part two of their album last year.
Yeah, Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost. Yeah.
Yeah, but like part two was more rocky and stuff, which it sounds like that. Yeah. In a good way though.
Yeah. Song record is really nice, and then you get into like the later part of that, Safe from Heartbreak If You Never Fall in Love, which like it's really kind of emotional, deeper kind of like ballad thing. You could almost see this as being poppy in a way, only because like we just came off of Olivia Rodrigo. And I could see
for Safe from Heartbreak, you can kind of do that. That's what I was saying with Olivia Rodrigo. That's why I liked her album a bit, because you were pulling from a bunch of different genres to put into pop, which I admire. After that, you get How Can I Make It Okay, which is a solid like indie track, almost like a bunch of different artists that I've heard a little bit through, but more of that like ethereal sound. There's something off the top of my tip of my tongue that I just can't bring it into who I'm thinking it sounds like, but it sounds a lot like some bands I've listened to throughout my life, but in a good, really, really good way. So, really, really like How Can I Make It Okay? Probably my favorite track on the album.
Yeah, I like...
Definitely put that in the Audioface playlist.
Yes. It reminds me of earlier Arcade Fire, I would say, actually.
Yeah, you could put that on there before... Wayne Butler was a little bitch, but yeah.
Before, there's an album even before Everything Now that was like pretty good, but it sounds like even before that.
They're like in between the suburbs and Everything Now, kind of that era. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, that's about the one. Then you go to a song I was referencing, maybe on or off camera earlier, but Play the Greatest Hits. And that's kind of like a post-punk sort of thing.
Which is perfect for after How Can I Make It Okay? Because the first half of the album is like dabbles between some slower music, this or that, and like How Can I Make It Okay? Such a deep song, and then you play the great hits. It's like fantastic for the way the album is layered, because it gets you straight back into the album, which I love that. Really like where
I like, especially a lot of albums do like this sort of for the lead single, you almost step out of the album space for a moment, and then there's a song that brings you back into the album space. It definitely does one of those. You get into Feeling Myself, which really mixes like the slow but also the loud in the album, and you get some really nice, beautiful orchestral pieces near the end with like strings and all that stuff that really just makes it feel like a real grand production, even though it's like a standard alternative rock band. I like that.
The Last Man on Earth is I like that track a lot too because it's a little bit slower, and that's one of those again where they like to build with their pieces, almost like beach house style, or even some dive, which the Beach 2 sounds a lot like dive in a good way, but I'll get to that in a second. Where it's like that, just it slowly builds and builds, and just has this beautiful crescendo at the top. It's just really, really nice for that. After that, you got No Hard Feelings, which is a little bit slower. That kind of just stays a little stagnant for the track. That might be the only track where I could feel it might be a little misplaced, if anything. But it's still a good track. But that's the only one I didn't necessarily like too much. But I might have to listen to it a little bit in the context of the album a couple more times to understand it more. So
I think it's a good like ending song before the ending song. I think it does that like thing where it wouldn't make sense to put it anywhere else, either at the very end or at the very beginning. But yeah, it's one of those you could.
And then the Beach 2, the ending track, sounds a lot like Dive's second album, which I love. So like almost like surf rock, but slow surf rock, where you're just kind of just chilling out and just have a lot of different 90s influences in there.
Slow surf rock with like more like very, very mild electronic influences around like the bridges and like the parts of like the chorus. But yeah, overall like that very divey kind of deal. Pretty great. Really again, like one of the surprising curveballs. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, because I've heard of Audioface before. I've listened to them here or there. I've never really got super into them, but I'm usually they're a solid alt rock indie band. But this album is really, really good as well. Fantastic. I mean, love the vocalist. Her vocals are fantastic. The lyrics, everything in there. The production of it. Another dirty hit. Fantastic work again. This has been a good week of Audioface music.
Yeah. Before the storm, let's say.
Yes, the good before the bad. So Arbitrary Scale is Lakers playoff history. So going into their when they missed the NBA Finals after their hilarious knockout from this one and their Mickey Mouse win in 2020. So
I'm calling this the 2004 to 2005 where they didn't even make it.
They didn't even make it. Yeah.
Playoffs.
That's when the Sixers were. That's back in the days where Sixers were good too.
Yeah, back when it was Sixers Nation. I'm trying to figure out like what was their percent. Oh man, they're running a 415 record. That's pretty rough in the streets. But just even though they had all your players, I'm talking Kobe Bryant, Brian Grant, Lamar Odom, Devion George, like you had all of your hits right there, but it just wasn't.
It just wasn't good.
Quite getting for them there. Your boy Devion George making $4.5 million on that team. Wow. Sometimes
underpaid, man.
Dude,